My name is Amina, and I was born in a small, vibrant town where the call to prayer echoed 5 times a day, resonating through our cobbled streets. Growing up in a devout Muslim family, my life was a tapestry woven with the threads of faith, community, and tradition. My world was stable, predictable, and comforting, until the day I died. It was a sweltering afternoon in July when my life took an unexpected turn. I was crossing the street, lost in thought about my upcoming engagement, when a flash of light and the screech of brakes shattered my world. In that moment, time seemed to stretch infinitely, and I was caught in a liminal space between life and death. I felt my soul detach from my physical self, hovering above the scene as onlookers rushed to help. But I was no longer there. Instead, I found myself in a vast, ethereal landscape. There was a gentle light that wrapped around me like a warm embrace. I felt no fear, only an overwhelming sense of peace and curiosity. As I drifted through this realm, a figure emerged from the light. He was unlike anyone I had seen before. His presence was both powerful and serene. It was Jesus. I knew him from the stories shared by my Christian friends, but now he stood before me, radiant and compassionate. "Do not be afraid, Amina." He spoke with a voice that was both tender and authoritative. "I have brought you here to show you the path of true love and unity." In this celestial place, Jesus unveiled a vision. I saw scenes from my life flash before me, moments of joy, sorrow, and everything in between. However, these moments were interwoven with glimpses of another life, one where I embraced love without boundaries, where faith was not a dividing line but a bridge. "Love is the essence of my teachings," Jesus explained, his eyes filled with understanding. "To love God is to love all without fear or prejudice." As he spoke, I felt a transformation within me. The boundaries I had known began to dissolve, replaced by a profound sense of unity and acceptance. Jesus showed me how love transcends religious labels, urging me to carry this message back to my world. I awoke in a hospital bed, surrounded by the worried faces of my family. The doctors called it a miracle. I had been technically dead for several minutes, yet here I was, alive and filled with a sense of purpose that I could not ignore. Sharing my experience was daunting. I knew the implications it might have on my relationships and community. Yet the compulsion to speak out was strong, like a fire igniting from within. I gathered my courage and began to share my story, starting first with my family. My parents listened, their expressions a mix of confusion and concern. But as I spoke of my encounter and the message of love, something softened in their eyes. My mother, always a bastion of strength, held my hand and whispered, "If this is your truth, we will support you." Encouraged by their acceptance, I reached out to others in my community. The reactions were varied. Some were skeptical, others curious, and a few openly hostile. Yet I found solace in the support of a diverse group of friends who encouraged dialogue and understanding. With time, I began to attend a local church, drawn by a desire to explore this new dimension of faith. I was welcomed warmly, and the community there embraced me with open arms. It was a revelation to see how faith could unite rather than divide. I learned that loving Jesus and God was not about abandoning my past but about expanding my understanding of love. My journey was not one of conversion but of integration. I remained rooted in my heritage while embracing the teachings of Jesus, finding strength in the unity of both. As I continued to share my story, I was invited to speak at various interfaith gatherings. It was humbling to see people from different backgrounds come together, eager to listen and learn. My message was simple yet profound. Love, true and unconditional, is the path to understanding and peace. Over time, I saw changes in my community. Conversations that once seemed impossible began to take place. People started to question their prejudices, opening their hearts to new perspectives. It was a slow process, but one filled with hope. As I settled into this new chapter of my life, the repercussions of my experience began to unfold in ways I had never anticipated. I found myself at the intersection of cultures, beliefs, and identities, and each day presented a new opportunity to explore the depths of love and connection. I was no longer just Amina, the girl from a small town. I was a bridge between faiths, a messenger of love. In the following months, I sought to create platforms for dialogue between Muslims and Christians in my community. I organized interfaith discussions, potlucks, and workshops that fostered understanding and respect. It was challenging as deeply ingrained beliefs often clashed, but the desire for connection was a powerful catalyst. One memorable event was a shared Ramadan iftar dinner with members of the local church. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm golden glow on our gathering. As we broke bread together, I saw the barriers dissolve. Laughter echoed through the hall and stories were exchanged. It was a celebration of our shared humanity, a recognition that while our paths might differ, our destination was the same, a longing for love and acceptance. I realized that storytelling was one of the most potent tools for fostering understanding. I began to collect stories from individuals who had similarly bridged gaps between their faiths. Each story was unique, yet they shared a common thread. Love had transformed their lives, leading them to embrace not only their own beliefs but also those of others. One evening, a young man named Samir, a Muslim artist, shared his journey of creating an art piece that depicted a mosque and a church side by side, intertwined with vines and flowers. He spoke of the initial backlash he received from his community for portraying both symbols of faith together. Yet the overwhelming response from those who understood his message of unity encouraged him to persist. His artwork became a symbol of hope, inspiring dialogue and reflection. Despite the progress, there were setbacks. Not everyone in my community was open to dialogue. Some were resistant, clinging tightly to their beliefs and fearing the unknown. I faced criticism and doubt, both from within my own faith community and from those who saw my actions as a betrayal. Yet I remembered the words of Jesus during my encounter with him: "Love is the essence of my teachings." In moments of frustration, I sought solace in prayer and reflection, reminding myself of my purpose. I learned to approach these challenges with compassion, understanding that fear often drives resistance. Throughout this journey, I found allies in unexpected places. A pastor named Michael became a close friend and confidant. He had witnessed the struggles of interfaith relations and was committed to fostering understanding within his congregation. Together, we co-hosted events that brought our communities together, emphasizing common values instead of differences. Michael's church became a second home for me, a sanctuary where I could explore my faith without judgment. I was amazed by the warmth and acceptance of its members, who welcomed me with open arms and hearts. In return, I introduced them to the beauty of Islamic traditions, sharing stories of Ramadan, Eid, and the teachings of the Quran. As I continued to navigate this new path, I found that my understanding of love was evolving. Love was no longer a mere sentiment. It became an action, a choice I made every day. I learned to love my family, friends, and community not just for their beliefs but for their humanity. I began to understand the importance of vulnerability in love. It was through sharing my fears, doubts, and insecurities that I forged deeper connections with those around me. The conversations that stemmed from honesty and openness created an atmosphere of trust and respect, allowing love to flourish. With each passing day, my vision for a united community grew clearer. I envisioned a world where love transcended religious boundaries, a world where children could grow up learning to appreciate the beauty in diversity. I dreamt of future generations who would carry the message of unity and compassion, fostering an environment where acceptance was the norm. To turn this vision into reality, I began to collaborate with local schools, advocating for interfaith education programs. I believed that if children were taught to appreciate each other's differences from an early age, they would carry that understanding into adulthood. As my efforts gained traction, I witnessed the ripple effect of love and acceptance within my community. Families began to invite each other over for meals, and friendships blossomed across faith lines. People shared their stories, their traditions, and their faiths, creating a rich tapestry of understanding. Children played together, their laughter mingling in the air as they exchanged stories about their holidays and traditions. One day, during a community festival, I watched in awe as a group of children from different backgrounds danced together, their joy infectious. It was a beautiful representation of the world I envisioned, a world where love was the common thread that bound us all. However, I also recognized that change was not without its challenges. There were moments of backlash and misunderstanding, times when fear reared its head and threatened to undo the progress we had made. Yet I remained steadfast in my belief that love would always prevail. In those difficult moments, I turned to my faith for guidance. I prayed for strength and wisdom, reminding myself of the purpose behind my actions. I sought to be a beacon of light in the darkness, a reminder of the power of love to heal and unite. Today, as I reflect on my journey, I am filled with gratitude for the experiences that have shaped me. The intersection of faith and love has become my life's work, and I am committed to continuing this path. I recognize that my story is just one of many, a single thread in the beautiful tapestry of humanity. I continue to speak at interfaith gatherings, sharing my experiences and encouraging others to embrace love as a unifying force. My hope is to inspire individuals to look beyond their differences and recognize the shared humanity that binds us all. As I move forward, I carry with me the vision of a world where love is the guiding light for all. It is a vision of acceptance, understanding, and compassion, a world where faith is not a barrier but a bridge that connects us. My journey is ongoing, but I am no longer afraid. I walk with the knowledge that love transcends boundaries, and I am determined to spread this message far and wide. In a world that often seems divided, I choose to be a voice for unity, a testament to the transformative power of love. Each day is a new opportunity to weave my story into the grand tapestry of humanity, a tapestry that celebrates the richness of our diverse experiences while embracing the common thread of love that binds us together. As I continue to share my story, I realize that it is not just my journey, it is a collective endeavor. I am part of a larger movement, one that seeks to dissolve the walls built by ignorance and fear. Each conversation, each shared meal, each moment of connection is a step toward a more inclusive future. I remember a poignant moment during a community event when a young woman named Layla, who had been hesitant to engage with others outside her faith, approached me. With tears in her eyes, she said, "Amina, your story has inspired me to reach out to my neighbor who I've never spoken to because of our differences. I want to understand her, to learn from her. Thank you for showing me that love knows no bounds." Her words filled me with hope, reaffirming my belief in the power of individual transformation. As I think about the future, I envision a world where children grow up in environments that nurture their understanding of diversity. I dream of schools that teach not only academics but also empathy, compassion, and the importance of dialogue. I want future generations to see each other as partners in a shared journey, rather than adversaries in a competitive race. To realize this dream, I began collaborating with local educators and community leaders to develop programs that promote interfaith understanding. We organized workshops for teachers, encouraging them to incorporate lessons about different cultures and religions into their curricula. The response was overwhelmingly positive. with many educators expressing their desire to foster a classroom environment that celebrates diversity. At the heart of this initiative is the belief that love is not merely an abstract concept but a tangible force that can change lives. It is the small acts of kindness that ripple through communities, igniting sparks of hope. I witnessed this firsthand during a community service project where Muslims and Christians joined hands to help those in need. As we painted a local shelter, laughter and camaraderie filled the air, and the barriers that once divided us seemed to vanish. However, I also understood that this journey would not be without storms. There were moments when negativity and skepticism threatened to overshadow our efforts. I recall a particularly challenging encounter during a town hall meeting, where some voices spoke out against our interfaith initiatives. Their words were laden with fear and misunderstanding, and I felt the weight of their resistance. In that moment, I chose to respond with compassion rather than defensiveness. I shared my own fears and doubts, revealing my vulnerability. "I understand that change can be frightening," I said, "but love is the antidote to fear. It is through love that we can find common ground." To my surprise, my honesty resonated with those in attendance. The room shifted and a dialogue began. People started to share their own experiences, and slowly, the atmosphere transformed from one of hostility to one of curiosity and openness. Through these experiences, I learned that healing takes time and patience. It requires a commitment to listening and understanding. I began to engage in one-on-one conversations with those who were skeptical, seeking to understand their perspectives while gently sharing my own. One of the most rewarding moments was when an elderly gentleman named Mr. Hassan, who had been vocal about his concerns, approached me after one of our events. With a hesitant smile, he said, "Amina, I've been thinking about what you said. Maybe I've been too rigid in my beliefs. I want to learn more." His willingness to engage filled me with hope and affirmed my belief that love could indeed break down walls. As I reflect on the transformation within our community, I am grateful for the relationships that have flourished. We have created a network of support, a tapestry of diverse voices united by a shared vision of love and understanding. Monthly interfaith gatherings have become a cherished tradition, where we celebrate our differences while recognizing our common humanity. As we share meals, music, and stories, I am filled with joy at the sight of children laughing together, adults sharing their faith journeys, and the warmth of connection that envelopes us all. Yet I know that our journey is far from over. There are still hearts to reach, minds to open, and barriers to dismantle. I am committed to continuing this work, to being a voice for those who feel unheard and unseen. I have started writing a book, sharing my experiences and the lessons I've learned along the way. My hope is that it will serve as a guide for others who wish to embark on their own journeys of love and understanding. I want to encourage individuals to step outside their comfort zones, to engage with those who are different, and to embrace the beauty of diversity. Today I stand as a testament to the power of love and faith. My journey is far from over, but I am no longer afraid. I walk with the knowledge that love knows no boundaries and that true faith is inclusive and unifying. Through my experience, I have learned that life is an intricate dance of faith, love, and understanding. My story is but one thread in the grand tapestry of humanity, woven with the colors of hope, compassion, and unity. And as I continue on this path, I carry with me the vision of a world where love is the guiding light for all. As I gaze into the future, I see a vibrant tapestry being woven, one where every thread represents a unique story, a different faith, and a shared commitment to love. Together, we can create a world where acceptance reigns, where love is the common language, and where unity triumphs over division. The journey continues, and I am honored to be a part of it, hand in hand with my fellow travelers on this remarkable path of love.